And we're back with One Punch Man chapter 196, the third redraw of the ninja arc. And just like last chapter, who's on the cover, guys? You know it, a female, Tatsumaki or Fubuki. It's either one of the two, literally almost every single cover page. If they're not in the chapter, they're going on the cover because Murata just loves to draw them females. All right, let's jump in as we get a whole ton of new backstory for the ninja arc. A lot of these elements are the same. Flashy Flash is not. They've upgraded his personality a little bit, and I want to dive into that, but let's explain what happens here. Okay, bear with me as I read this, because keep in mind this is the third redraw plus a webcomic, so essentially the fourth version of this arc. And I'm going to try my best to get through it and acknowledge any new changes or differences that have been made. The Ninja Village was a production site for assassins that gathered orphans under the age of 17, training them for over a decade before shipping them off to the underworld. Flashy Flash talking here when he says, "I was 5 years old when my parents sold me to the Ninja Village. Until we completed all the training and were granted permission to graduate, escaping was impossible. The scars from punishment for my failed escape attempt still remain." Okay, and a lot of the explanation here is the same as we've gotten before. A day in the Ninja Village will last 72 hours, only 6 were used for sleeping, the food had no flavor and was bland, all outside contact with the world was completely blocked off, we spent every day living as machines, but doing nothing but killing, we're not allowed to display human emotions, XYZ. The only thing Murata really changed here is the landscape and the environment. Like, look how much detail he put into a toilet, bro. Like, I don't know what's going on with this guy. I know he's trying to get more detail and everything, but like, why spend it on a toilet? So this is also new. We get kind of like a drill sergeant ninja teaching the younglings how to do combat, how to control their emotions and things like that. You can see the giant ninja cube facility in the background, and this was just kind of neat just for like some, you know, added little elements to the backstory. Not really that necessary though. But what we learn about Flash is new. So he says those with low test scores were subjected to even harsher training programs. So basically, Flash acted like he was a failure, so his training would be way harder. And in doing so, it made him the strongest ninja, essentially. They were also taking lots of drugs and stuff to increase their performance. I don't know what relevance that has, but like maybe at some point in the future, if Flash and Sonic are about to die, maybe they'll bust out some of these like adrenaline drugs and like go crazy. They also further embellished on the relationship between Sonic and Flash. Here, I feel like he finally hit the nail on the head for the companionship of these two characters. Before it was always like, oh, they were ninjas who survived. And now it's like they actually bonded while they were kids. Neither of them really had anybody, but it was really dangerous for them to be talking because ninjas aren't supposed to talk to each other, but they were able to practice against each other because they were of similar levels, and in doing so, they kind of exceeded all the other ninja, and they were both grateful for that. So it was actually a really cool, like, little bonding story. I really appreciated this. Maybe it's even too strong because in the manga, Flash and Sonic, like, while they're acquaintances, they're not like brothers or even bros in that sense. Like, they're more just like acquaintances, and they even go to fight each other before Empty Void arrives. But in this backstory, it's like they're besties, you know, so whatever, I'll take it. So they say that there was even these genetically modified beasts, and Sonic and Flash, you know, had to survive killing them, but they were together, they were able to kill them really easily, and they would spend the rest of their day studying and talking to each other, and that's how they got so powerful, was basically you know, helping each other finish their missions and then training against each other and just growing and growing, which I think it adds so much more to the bond of these two characters. The only issue I have is that they've never really been this bonded in the manga. They've just been like, oh, you're a ninja too. Like, oh, you're a ninja, so I have to fight you. I have to kill you. But now we're learning all this backstory that, like, these guys go deep and way back. They're like OG friends who helped each other survive. And so it's a pretty dramatic shift. I don't think it's bad in any means. Just keep in mind, this is literally the fourth, if you include the webcomic, the fourth retelling of this story. I'm just starting to get a little lost in it all. I don't feel it's really necessary to tell it again and again and again, but whatever one and Murata want to do, I'm just going to let them do it. I'm not going to complain about it because they got us this far, right? You got to have a little bit of trust in the boys. So most of this information is the same, but we're going to have a little bit of a time skip here as we go to see Flashy Flash when he's 16 years old. His abilities are so excellent that he's ranked #1. His sense of justice is burning fiercely inside of him. And we get something new again, a backstory imagery of his graduation exam, and you have these hooded members take this cloth off this like artifact, and it's the cube. So what this is telling you as the viewer is anybody who's like ranked #1 as a ninja, like they have all the ninjas fight and kill each other until there's only one left, because that one will go touch the cube and talk to God and become a God avatar. So this is showing how they created this just malicious and bloodthirsty kind of ninja clan to filter out all the weak. They could just get the strong ninja and then just give them over to God. So the whole purpose was to create God avatars. But unfortunately for them, young Flashy Flash went on a murder spree, and he kind of activated his ambition to destroy the ninja villages and killed everybody. So during his God initiation ceremony, he just straight up pulled out some knives and slaughtered everyone, and that's why he never turned into Empty Void. So it seems like he literally killed everyone in the ninja village except for Sonic. And we find out later in the chapter it's because he poisoned Sonic because he wanted to save him. He had planned to kill everyone in the ninja village, but because Sonic had befriended him and they were training together, he kept him alive. So again, same kind of like new theme here. Like these guys are not associates, they're not even friends, they're like lovers almost. Like they're so close that they're doing things for each other to keep each other alive. You know, like are they gay? I mean, maybe. Like maybe that's why Murata always shows their butts in these like tight yoga pants all the time. Like maybe he's trying to tell us that they're gay for each other. It could be that way, boys. It could be that way. All right, let's go over to the best picture of the whole chapter. That's Blast sitting at the table with Saitama, Flash, and Sitch and Manako. And Saitama's like, why the hell are you guys in my room? Flash still thinks that Saitama's his disciple. And Genos puts a cup of hot tea on Flash's head. I love the comedy between these two. Like this interaction between Genos and Flash, or anybody who deems Saitama to be either their master or disciple, and Genos gets so jealous. It's just the funniest damn comedy. I love it. So Flash does not want to admit that he spared Sonic, and it seems like Blast and perhaps even Saitama caught on to that very easily, because Flash says my plan was to poison him, but he had a resistance to the poison, so he survived. And Blast says, as I thought, you didn't really want to kill him. And he didn't. Dude, it really feels to me like Murata's trying to make them lovers. That's what it feels like to me, even more so than it did before. And that's pretty much the end of the chapter. You know, nothing crazy or special. I don't know if Sonic and Flash are actually going to be lovers. I don't think they are. But we got this chapter in 1 week. I'm really hoping we'll get another chapter next week of a redraw. We'll have to see if Murata can pull that off. But if not, I'll see you in 2 weeks.